Police Report, the channel we share everything about crime stories and forensic science cases. Today our topic is about a bomb killer, and everything happened from an unexpected delivery box. Before we start the video, please don't forget to give a like and subscribe our channel. In December of 1989, Federal Court Judge Robert Smith Vance and his wife were preparing for the busy Christmas holiday. They received a delivery they never expected without the sender's name on it. When he tried to open to see what it is, there was an explosion, and Vance was killed instantly. Robert and his wife lived with their family in an affluent suburb of Birmingham, Alabama. He had been a federal court judge for the 11th District, presiding over cases from Alabama. As a judge, Robert undoubtedly had his share of enemies, but he had never received any threats, which explains why he wasn't suspicious of the package mailed to him a few days before Christmas. The package contained a pipe bomb with nails wrapped around a pipe, which acted like a shrapnel. The blast killed Robert instantly. His body was thrown clear across the kitchen. Miraculously, his wife Helen survived from the explosion, and she was able to get to the neighbor's home for help. She suffered some severe injuries, and she had several cuts in the flesh from the nails that the bomb had been bound with. She also had several internal injuries from the nails penetrating the body, including one that had done some damage to her liver. A pipe bomb is usually homemade. A bomb squeezed in a pipe. The pipe contains a fuse inside, and the wire leading to the fuse usually comes out of the hole where it is connected to the timer or battery. The pipe contains explosive material inside. It is tightly sealed at each end with steel or brass caps. A pipe bomb explosion can be powerful due to the increased pressure inside, which caused the tube to fragment and act as potentially lethal shrapnel. Pipe bomb doesn't need high-level explosives, but can contain other materials such as nails and glass to cause even more damage when it explodes. It is simple to make, and its components can be found in the most hardware stores. The U.S. Marshal Service warned all members of the judiciary to be on the alert for any suspicious mail packages. Few days later, a security guard at the 11th Circuit Court in Atlanta noted something unusual in a routine X-ray of packages entering the building. Inside the package, there was an 8-inch tube attached to a pair of flashlight batteries, and it looked like a pipe bomb. Police did not want to detonate the bomb. They want it dismantled in order to study its construction. After the examination of the bomb, experts determined that this bomb was identical to the one that killed Judge Robert. The construction of the bomb can tell the bomber who is a very purposeful individual, not as someone who idly got mad and done this. The bomb had two unique characteristics which investigators had never seen before. The bomb and the inside of the box had been covered with black enamel paint. It had square end caps, which were bolted and welded onto the ends, which delayed the explosion and increased its power. Scientists could not trace evidence inside the bomb package, no hair fibers or fingerprints. This bomb was similar to a tear gas bomb, which exploded 4 months earlier in the Atlanta office of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We say NAACP. Along with that bomb was a letter, a declaration of war against the 11th Circuit Court. It said, "The attack shall continue until widespread terror forced the court to adopt the impartial, equitable treatment of all as its highest priority." No one knew why or threat against the 11th Circuit Court had been sent to NAACP, which was involved in civil rights issues. Investigators suspect that the tear gas bomb was mailed to as a test to see if it could be sent through the mail without exploding. When the test was successful, the bomber started on his path of murder. 2 days after the bomb explosion, which killed Judge Robert Faines, Robert Robertson, who is a civil rights attorney, went to work as usual at his office in Savannah, Georgia. Waiting for him on his desk was a package that had been sent to him through the mail. When he opened it, it exploded. The explosion caused fatal injuries to Robertson, who died later in that day in hospital. The bomb was set to detonate when the string wrapped around the outside of the package was pulled. This chain was attached to a battery-powered charge, triggering the explosion. All of the bombs were identical and the bomber was meticulous in every detail of their construction. Once the bombs were completed, the bomber sprayed black paint over the inside of the box, which covered up possible evidence such as fingerprints or fibers. The bomber was also careful not to leave any genetic materials, such as hair or saliva, on the mailing labels or on the back of stamps. Even the finest forensic machinery in the world at that time failed to find one speck of DNA. On the same day that Robert Robertson was murdered, Willie Dennis received an identical package in the mail. At that time, she was a president of NAACP office in Jacksonville, Florida, but she was late for a meeting, so she left her office before opening the package. That night at home, she received a phone call from a friend and told her if she received any funny packages, make sure that she notified the sheriff's office. Finally, it was found a pipe bomb inside. There were 4 letters inside the package. One took responsibility for the murders of Judge Faines and Robert Robertson. Another made reference to the tear gas bomb sent a few months earlier to the NAACP. It said, "To the officer who opened our smoke bomb, the officers of the NAACP have become targets for assassinations." The letters and mailing labels had all been typed with the same typewriter, which had a signature flaw. The number 1 on the keypad did not match the typeface of the other keys and it was a replacement. The FBI searched the files of the 11th Circuit Court looking for any documents which might have been typed with the same typewriter. More than 1 million documents were examined. The FBI found 1 letter type of the same typewriter. It had the same flaw. The number 1 was a different typeface. The letter dealt with an obscure life insurance case from 1987, and the sender was alive and well in the small town of Enterprise, Alabama. The investigation into this bombing became the largest and most exhaustive in the history of federal law enforcement. Investigators used every method at their disposal to find the typewriter used to type the letters and mailing labels on the bomb packages. The investigation revealed that the same typewriter had been used by a man in Enterprise, Alabama, Robert Whale O'Farrell, to type a letter about an insurance dispute. He was a junk dealer, and investigators searched every inch of his home, garage, and warehouse, but they couldn't find the typewriter. He recalled typing the insurance letter but couldn't remember what happened to the typewriter. His daughter had a fake recollection of selling it to a young woman about a year earlier, but could provide no description of the buyer and she had no receipt of sale. With a typewriter now a dead end, investigators were left with the bombs as their main source of evidence. Pictures of the bomb were distributed to the bomb experts throughout the country. No one had ever seen a bomb constructed like this before. Lloyd Irwin, who was one of the chemists working in the ATF, he recalled a similar bomb many years earlier, with that same distinctive design of the bomb. He then searched through the thousands of cases in his file, all the way back to 1972, and learned that the bomb he recalled had accidentally maimed a woman who came across it unexpectedly in her home. Authorities suspect that the bomb had been constructed by her husband, Walter Leroy Moody. Although he denied it, Moody was convicted of constructive possession of the bomb and sentenced to 6 years in the state penitentiary. He was furious about the conviction. After he was released from prison, spent the next 10 years trying to have his conviction overturned. He was also obsessive about the case of Julie Love, a young white woman who was murdered and raped by a group of black defendants in one of the most highly publicized cases in Atlantic history. A case tried at the 11th Circuit Court. This was the case mentioned in one of the bomber's letters. Anytime a black man rapes white woman in Alabama, Florida, or Georgia in the future, Americans for a competent federal judicial system shall assassinate one federal judge, one attorney, and one officer of the NAACP. Investigators thought he was a bomber, but authorities couldn't prove it. They had no forensic evidence linking him to any of the bombings. After interviewing more than 6,000 people, checking over 1 million documents, and examining the case files of every bombing in the United States, federal authorities were convinced that Walter Leroy Moody was the serial bomber. Federal agents searched the home Moody shared with his second wife, Susan. The search was so complete that even the floorboards were removed and the entire residence vacuumed for gunpowder and other trace evidence. But authorities could not find one single piece of evidence in their search. Although investigators found nothing inside Moody's home, it was what they didn't find that was revealing. The first search of the house appeared as if the house had been sterilized, meaning that normal things that would be found in a house that could be used to fabricate a bomb device, such as wire, nails, pliers, and even pieces of pipe. Things people normally should have in the house, they were totally lacking in Moody's house. The pressure of a federal investigation was too great for Susan Moody. She was 20 years younger than her husband and told authorities that Moody was emotionally and physically abusive. When she was questioned separately without her husband, she provided some interesting information. Susan Moody said that her husband often took her shopping at stores throughout the southeastern part of the United States. He told her to buy steel pipe, acrylic tubing, raincoats, rubber gloves, shower caps, and the safety glasses. She was also told to buy black enamel paint. She also said her husband once shoplifted some nails from a store in Georgia, nails similar to those which were used in the pipe bombs. Investigators believe that Moody used the cap, gloves, and safety glasses to dress himself like a surgeon while making the bombs, so that he wouldn't leave genetic material in the package. Moody sprayed the inside of the package with black enamel paint to mask any fingerprints, hairs, or fibers that may have been left inadvertently. Prosecutors believe that Moody removed all of the material he used to make the bombs before his home was searched. Susan Moody also confirmed that she had purchased a used typewriter for her husband, which had later been thrown away. There was one more piece of evidence that investigators had almost given up on. The fingerprint found one of the bomber's letters. Susan Moody told the FBI that she had copied the letters for her husband in a small shop in Florence, Kentucky. When the copy machine ran out of paper, one of the employees put more in. When he did, his fingers touched the top piece of paper. The employee's fingerprints matched the one found on the threatening letter, which confirmed Susan Moody's story. It was the link investigators needed to tie Moody to the bombs. Susan Moody was granted immunity and testified for the prosecution. Walter Leroy Moody was found guilty of the murders of Judge Robert Fiennes and Robert Robertson and was sentenced to death by electrocution.